Hi, and welcome back to Katie and Mama Learn. This week, I wanted to talk about why reading out loud to your child is such a vital part of their language development and their short-term memory and building vocabulary. There's so many skills, and there's lots of research done about the difference between children that were read to and children that weren't. I just read a study that showed that children who were read to, different parts of their brain develop differently when they're read to because they have that input of language that they had not had otherwise. And when children specifically with Down syndrome are read to, that they learn to train their ear to distinguish between different sounds, which give them an opportunity to articulate more clearly. So if you are reading to your child, it's not just like reading a funny story or reading a happy time or having some bonding time, which is amazing. It actually helps their brain develop. And when they hear you say words correctly, when they're being read to, it helps their brain develop in a different way to build language. So one of the things I read too was that books expose your child to more words, obviously increasing their vocabulary, but they're hearing words that they may not have heard in just your everyday vernacular conversations that you have. And that's really important, to expose them to more vocabulary words. When there's no one to play with, dogs are sometimes bored. When Dinah is bored, she curls up and goes to sleep. When Muffin is bored, she chews up pillows.
Pillows.
Barks
at my toy. I like my fan. I like my bag. I like my school. I like my teddy bear.
Good reading.
I like my cap.
That's right.
Cap.
Yes, his cap. So one of the other things is that being read to helps with visual learning. So children with Down syndrome often face challenges with auditory short-term memory. And this article talked about how hearing words from when they're spoken to them clearly, while seeing the corresponding pictures and words, actually helps bridge the gap between sound and meaning, so that later on, after they've heard the story, they're able to bring that up in their mind and use the proper word correctly and express it. So it's just like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you want to read to your kid as much as possible? And I have a couple things that I wanted to share. I'll insert some videos of Katie reading and me reading to her as well. But one of the things that I like to do too, I have a ton of books behind me, as you can see, and I can list some of my absolute favorite books. And sometimes children's books, especially picture books, they can get a little boring for adults to read. But I have found some books that I don't mind reading over and over and over again. Owl Moon is one of them. I probably memorized it now. It was late one winter night. But it's a beautiful story, and these books have great plots. They're not just about, silly things that maybe don't make a lot of sense. For a while, it seems like when I was teaching, almost all the books that I would find to bring to my classroom library were all about burping or farting. And so these books that I have really researched and found like the best of the best books. And I will try to list maybe at least 5 of my favorite ones. If you want more, let me know, but I can do that. But I just wanted to share a little bit about when you choose a book to make a book. And of course, this one is huge, I know, but for somebody with Down syndrome and somebody who is just beginning to read, maybe you've practiced some sight words, Katie can read this book on her own. And as you can see, the words are very large, the pictures are large, but Katie wants a banana, I can cut the banana. So some of the vocabulary words that I wanted her to know, like banana, are repeated, and it's very easy to read. The words are very large. They're simple. They have big spaces in between them, different than a book that you'd find in your library, let's say. So, I encourage you to make your own books too for this activity. And the other thing that I really like, which I will, like I said, I will insert some videos, are these voice recorders. And I will show you a little picture of my library that I have of them. So there's 12 books, 12 little buttons that you can make your own book. And how I use this with Katie is I will pick a book and then I add music, I add sounds of if there's animals in it, I add other little short songs in this book. I added some songs to it, and I will let you hear what that sounds like. And they're just much more engaging. So as you read the book, you're hearing she's hearing it be read to. Like, I love to read to my daughter. I love to read to her, but I can't read to her all day long, obviously. And then there are times when we're going someplace, or I'm, working with my other children, or I'm making supper or breakfast, and she will go to our little library, pick up one of these little recorders, pick the book that corresponds with it, because you get little stickers that correspond with each little symbol. And so she knows which one goes with which story. And then I just number them because we have more than one. And she can sit and have me read to her in a really exciting, engaging way. And she listens to this over and over and over. And these voice recorders that I have used as a teaching tool have been incredibly valuable. I can't even tell you how her vocabulary has changed, her expression, her ability to communicate, just because I have recorded all of these books and more. I have, I think right now, 8 of these. And it's a great teaching tool. And it's also a great part of our curriculum because she can listen to this over and over. And if you have a child that has Down syndrome, you know that they love to listen to things over and over. And especially if there's music, and especially if they're in it. Like, I have recorded my own personal books with her, but I've also recorded a lot of books that would be way too hard for her to read on her own. The words would be totally difficult for her to read these on their own. But I want to show you what they sound like, and I will put a video just behind so you can see it. Katie, do you like to paint?
Yes, I am painting.
You are painting. Yes. Wait, don't paint my finger. I don't want my finger to be painted. Oh no. Mama's poor finger now.
Mama!
These little pots, these little flower pots didn't come with a stand. We really needed a stand. So you didn't have to paint Mama's fingers. Okay, so one of the things, I just want you to hear this. I've recorded this book, and you can see that I inserted a song. They talk about playing the song Bingo. Oh. And so I recorded it in the book. So you can imagine, and it's not just the song Bingo, but there's other songs like The Farmer in the Dell. And I've recorded that, embedded it in the story, in the recorder. I also did this story, Somebody Loves You, Mr. Hatch, and at the end,
and exclaimed, "Why, I've got a secret admirer!" And then he did something he had never done
anyway,
before.
You can hear how I have background music, and in this book, I actually added Meghan Trainor's song, I Feel Better When I'm Dancing, because they dance in this song. But you can imagine when you have a book that's that engaging for your kid, they're going to be so interested in listening to it over and over. And it's almost like a more of an experience of language to increase their attention, not just listening to the story.
This game. Let's play.
Hey, I'm thirsty. What can I do?
You can get juice at home.
I can get juice at
Show
home?
you.
Where's home? You're going to show me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Pop.
I have to follow this way?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, way.
This way?
Car.